Welcome to Syscall Fault. In this video, we will write our first assembly language program, the classic Hello World, and understand what every instruction actually does. Our first line is dot section dot data. Anything which starts with a dot, such as dot section, is usually an assembler directive or an instruction to the assembler. It is not translated directly into a CPU machine instruction. Now, this dot section command breaks our program up into sections. Dot data. Here we enter the data section of the program. This section is used to store data our program will use. This contains data elements or labels which are declared with an initial value and refer to a named memory location. Now here message. This is a label. A label is simply a human readable name given to a location in memory. .ASCII and hello world. This instruction tells the assembler to place these characters into memory as ASCII bytes. So here it is very important to note that we are placing these characters in memory as ASCII bytes. So here $message will refer to the memory location of the first byte of our string hello world, or we can say that our label message points to the ASCII character H. This label message points to the ASCII character H. This character H, which is stored in the memory. And also note that our string contains total 13 bytes including the \n. So that \n is also included. Now the next line of our assembly program is dot section dot text. I already told you that dot section divides our program into various parts. So dot text, when we write dot section dot text, so this part starts the code section of our program where the CPU instructions will be placed. Now the next line of our program is dot global and start. Here dot global means that start is a special symbol and that linker will need it after assembly because it marks the location of the start of the program. If you remember, I told you earlier that anything that starts with a dot is an assembler directive. So this global start, it means that this start is a special symbol and linker will need it after assembly. Now the next line in our program is start. This line defines the start of our program. It is like main function in C or other languages. So what does this line do is that this line is the start of our program, and when our program begins execution, the instruction pointer the instruction pointer will be loaded with the memory address of the first instruction after this start label. This is the start label, and the instruction pointer will point to the first instruction which we will be giving after the start label, or we can say that instruction will point to the first instruction after the start label. Move Q. Now the first instruction is move Q $4, percentage RAX. This is the first actual CPU instruction in our program. It tells the processor to move the decimal value 4 into 64-bit RAX register. Note that this decimal value 4 is preceded by a dollar sign. In AT&T assembly syntax, the dollar sign means that what follows is an immediate value, meaning that actual value itself is used directly in the instruction. So here the value 4 is moved into the RAX register. This immediate value can be written in decimal, hexadecimal, binary or octal form. This immediate value may even be a memory address such as $message, which will place the address of message into the RAX register. Also notice that the register RAX is preceded by a percentage sign. In AT&T syntax, registers are written with a percentage sign before their names. Also observe the syntax carefully. It is in the form of move from source to destination. So here value 4 is copied into the RAX register. Now see the instruction MOVQ. MOV starts for move and the suffix Q is for the register. Here we are moving value 4 into 64-bit RAX register. If we were moving it into the 32-bit EAX register, then this would have been MOVL. This style of writing assembly instructions is known as AT&T syntax. It is commonly used by GNU assemblers and compilers on x86 systems, including both Intel and AMD processors. Now we come to our next instruction, which is MOVQ. Here Q stands for quad. So MOVQ $1, percentage RBX. So in this instruction we place the decimal value of 1 in 64-bit RBX register. Now the next instruction is MOVQ move quad $message, percentage RCX. Here we are placing the address of memory location pointed to by the message label in the RCX register. Now here I have written two instructions separately. Please note the difference between the two instructions. This instruction move Q message RCX, move Q message percentage RCX. This first one puts the ASCII values HELLO space WO 5 6 7 8. Okay, it puts these ASCII values 8 bytes or 64 bits in the RCX register. This instruction, it will place the first 8 bytes of our hello world into the RCX register, whereas the second one move Q $message, percentage RCX, this one puts the memory address of the label message where this H is stored in the 64-bit RCX register. So once again, this puts the memory address of the label message where H is stored in the 64-bit RCX register. Compare this with the move Q $4, RX, where we put the value 4 in RX register. But here what we are doing, we are putting the memory address of the label message in the RCX register. Now the next instruction, MOVQ $13, %RDX. So finally we put decimal value of 13 in the RDX register. Now int OX80. This is the most important instruction in the whole program code. I chose it specifically because it is no more used nowadays. We use syscall. I will teach you about it in the next video. From next videos we will use syscall, but I chose it specifically here. The int here stands for interrupt. Many people mistake it for the integer type, which is the type of data in high level languages such as C or Python. But here int stands for software interrupt. This instruction causes CPU to transfer control from our user program to the Linux kernel. Here OX80 is the interrupt number. It tells the processor to invoke the Linux kernel through interrupt vector OX80. Here the prefix OX means it is in hexadecimal. So we are sending software interrupt with hexadecimal 80 to the processor. This could also have been written as INT 128 in the decimal number system. Both are same. Now remember, this interrupt mechanism was used in 32-bit Linux systems to perform system calls. So here we are making a system call to the Linux kernel, asking it to write data to the terminal. The function that is performed by the kernel is determined by the value of the RAX register. This one. Here RAX register contains the value 4. Actually in 32-bit Linux it was EAX register. EAX, EBX, ECX and EDX. But nowadays we are working on 64-bit processors, so we will be learning 64-bit assembly. Okay, back to this. Here the EAX register, obviously which is a subset of RX, or we will say here the RX register contains the value 4, which means we want to write to a file in Linux. Now the EBX register contains value 1, which means we want to write to standard output, the display terminal. Look, this is the software interrupt. Now based on this, the value 4 means in RAX means we want to write to a file in Linux, and the value 1 in RBX means that this file is standard output. This value 1 means we want to write to standard output, which is the display terminal. The RCX register contains the memory address of the data which is to be returned to the terminal. So it contains the memory address of the data which is to be returned to the terminal, and this RTX contains value 13, which means starting from the memory address stored in RCX. The first one is for capital H. A total of 13 bytes are to be written or displayed on the terminal. So when this instruction is processed, it writes hello world to the terminal, and with a \n it will move the cursor to the next line in the terminal. As an exercise, do try to remove the \n from the message and change the RDX value to 12 and see what happens. Now we need to terminate the program. Why is this necessary? Now we need to terminate the program properly so that the operating system knows our program has finished execution and it can clean up its resources. So we will again raise the software interrupt and make a syscall to Linux kernel via the value in the RX register. So we place decimal value 1 in the RX register and 0 in the RBX register, and then we raise the software interrupt to the Linux kernel. Now the Linux kernel looks up the interrupt vector OX80 and checks the value in the EX register or RX register. Okay, it sees the value 1. Previously the value was 4. Now it sees the value 1, which means terminate the program. Earlier, when we had raised the software interrupt, at that time the kernel looked up in the vector and then checked in the EX register or RX register. At that time value was 4, which meant that it was a request for write operation. Okay, but now the request is for termination of the program. In such cases, depending on the value of EBX, now it is RX, which says 0, which means that the exit code to be provided to the OS is 0. So you can see the exit code by the command echo $?. So now we are going to run this program. How to do that? I write here AS, okay, for the GNU assembler. The name of our file is video1.s. .s is for assembly language. So I write as -o video1.o. Create an object file from video1.s. It has been created. Now we will use the linker. It is ld. The command is ld. Okay, -o video1. This will be our executable from video1.o object file. Okay, now we call the loader. Current directory video1. Okay, look, hello world. It has printed like this, and if we write echo $?, this is the exit status code provided to the OS by the RBX register. Okay, so this was the first video, and in this I deliberately chose to use the software interrupt. From next videos we will be using Linux system calls. So I will write the same program of hello world using the Linux system calls, and then I will explain it to you. So in the end, I have one request for you. If you liked my video, kindly give a thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel. This is my first video, and if you will subscribe to my channel, it will be helpful for my video for the YouTube algorithm, and we will be learning. I will be teaching you assembly language, and later on we will also move to ARM. I hope you like the video. Thank you, and please subscribe to Syscall Fault. If you have any doubts or any questions, please write it in the comments, and if possible I will try to address your concerns. Thank you.